Surrounded by some of the UK's biggest cities, this part of the northwest is battling a new wave of crime, and its victims are as young as 12.
Police officers!
From police on the front line,
Ketamine has just insidiously reared its head.
Let me speak.
to the people running the local area.
We're hearing that young people are putting their pocket money together and buying bags of ketamine.
Meeting the former dealers who kept the drug moving.
I was 15 when I first started dealing. The majority of the kids are doing it.
And those medics seeing the impacts on the very young firsthand.
It hadn't just stolen kind of her bladder control, it's stolen her life.
This is Cheshire, and this is Ketamine, the teen crisis. It's the early hours, and we're being briefed by Cheshire Police.
Right. Morning everyone, ready to go? Boss? I'm sure we've all heard or seen incidents relating to ketamine across the LPUs and a detrimental effect that can take 6 to 8 weeks to start. And we've seen things like cat bladder and things like that.
Officers have been working for months to take down an operation moving drugs around the region using people they suspect could be as young as 13. Places like schools and buses being used to push ketamine, the Class B anaesthetic, and they've invited us on their raids.
This morning is singularly, surgically focused on ketamine. Ketamine has just insidiously reared its head.
And police are trying to catch the drug at source. They batter down the door of this house and pull out who they believe to be the suspect's father, then a teen, and then the 18-year-old suspect.
What am I getting arrested for?
And he doesn't go quietly.
Can I speak then? Can I speak to you?
Then the operation takes us to another house.
Police officers!
A 24-year-old. Suspected of using teens to help move the drug around. Searches continue and police dogs are brought in to help find some of the drug. The man is then arrested. The fact that people so young could be both selling and using the drug doesn't sit well with police.
What we do know is that ketamine seems to be quite prevalent within quite a wide range of ages. I know there's 15-year-olds you've mentioned. We've seen it kind of as low as 13.
It feels quite shocking to have people so young involved in something like this. Is this kind of a new area? Have you seen this before when it is, specifically around ketamine?
We've not seen it, but now we've identified it. We're working really collaboratively to try and get ahead of it.
And there's a worry schools are becoming a playground for dealing ketamine. We've heard from teachers in the local area. Some of them explained how they've had to essentially, once school is over, move children on out of the playground to make sure that dealing is not taking place. Is that the sort of thing that's becoming the norm around here?
It's not something I'm learning from you, I guess. We've been in dialogue with education and education settings for a number of months as part of this. The last thing we want is drug use within education settings. They should be safe spaces where people can study.
We are seeing a worrying rise in ketamine use, often linked to social settings and peer influence.
Just a month ago, the council here voted unanimously to take action over teen ketamine use across the borough.
Linked to ketamine-related harms.
The councillor who called this out says what she's found is shocking. How young are some of these people who are taking ketamine on a regular occasion?
Talking to local nurses, we're seeing cases as young as 12. And this is just, it's crazy.
What's behind this rise? Why are people able to get ketamine so easily?
I think the main attraction to this drug is that it is so cheap. We're hearing that young people are putting their pocket money together and buying bags of ketamine. It's just how times have really changed, and it's really worrying. We need to be on the front foot. We need to take control now and educating our young people, our teachers, our parents, so that we can be ahead of this. Ketamine is not welcome here in Cheshire, West and Chester, and we must protect our young people.
Other warnings are coming from the people who used to deal. One former dealer, now 18, who started selling ketamine at 15, has agreed to meet.
You weren't allowed to know what was in it, and you were just given a location and you had to take it there, and leave it in a spot and wait for someone to come. You can get a few grams for 20. There's like males in the alleyway passing over what look like ket in a bag. Even kids sitting on alleyways doing it.
And how young are they, potentially?
I would say 13.
As young as 13?
I would think 13.
Wow, okay.
It's really cheap to get.
How does it make you feel that that is potentially going on in schools?
It's just sickening, because it's like you're taking advantage of kids. Like, yeah, I've been there and I know how like hard it is, threatening my family, threatening my mates, threatening to, you know, that they've got things on you.
If you didn't sell drugs?
Yeah, so it puts them in a position where it's like, I have to do it.
So this is the ladies' flats, and how many of them would be staying here?
So up to 10 clients in here.
Just 15 miles away, the drug is also hard to escape.
Movie. Therapy quite often is in here.
This rehab
as well.
clinic cares for people with addiction, and the numbers they're now seeing related to ketamine are huge.
Definitely over the last 6 months we haven't had an increase in people that's coming in with ketamine addiction. This ranges from anyone from the age of 18 up, typically mostly females.
And what's behind the rise? You talk about there being a big increase in people using ketamine who are relatively young. What's behind that?
So it's easy accessible. It has almost become the norm, and that starts from as young as being in schools. Young people, it is the norm for them to take ketamine. A client once described to me that ketamine is easy accessible as going to the shops to buy a packet of crisps and a can of pop. It is everywhere, and that's my worry.
Prolonged use of the drug can cause irreparable damage to a person's bladder through scarring and shrinking, and it's this that experts worry teens don't know.
There's no immediate side effects from ketamine. You know, kind of people talk about there isn't that come down quite the same when they're on ketamine, and they can actually just kind of keep on rolling on taking ketamine without the side effects until obviously the medical side effects come in kind of quite a bit down the line, and then the damage is done. And that's the thing, I think there's no understanding around that long-term damage.
How young are the people that are coming to you who've got ketamine addiction?
Ketamine addiction is bringing younger and younger people in. You know, we're seeing people as young as, 19, 20. These are starting really young, kind of 13, 14. So 5 years into the addiction, children will grow up and do, they're going to go away on that girls' holiday, they're going to go out and kind of be able to date boys and have those early sexual experiences and not be worried about the fact that, ultimately you're wearing adult nappies at the age of 20, 21, 22. I've seen a young girl come in, I've got daughters of similar ages, and it was kind of like it hadn't just stolen kind of her bladder control, it's stolen her life.
How long do you think it could be before you can't treat any more people here and you have to turn people away who are addicted to ketamine?
If this ketamine carries on, this growth of addiction the way it is, by the end of the year, I don't think it'll be sustainable.
So this is your lovely kitchen.
Oh, thank you.
Faye's son started using ketamine when he was 20. He's now 25 and in recovery. She set up a petition calling for more help and support for parents going through a similar thing.
But I know for a fact, round here, the youngest person I know is year 6 in primary school.
Taking ketamine?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's really scary. But year 7 onwards is the most common. It's everywhere, and they're doing it so cheap, £5 a bag. They could all chip in the dinner money. There you go. And you're thinking you're giving your child dinner money. Probably actually
and parents might not know where that money's going.
It's really, really a massive issue.
Faye's hoping talking about the experience of her son could start to change things.
He was obviously going to the toilet non-stop. Pain. The pain. I was watching my son crawl along the floor. The only way to resolve that was more ketamine. He actually was with a friend of his who also they were helping each other to try and stop it. That friend is now gone.
This is probably a hard thing to think about, but how close was your son to...
Well, to death. So if I hadn't got him in a week early, I don't think he'd be with us. The number of calls I've taken, like, this is my personal time, is unbelievable. I spoke to many parents, I spoke to many families, I spoke to many children, many youths that don't know where to turn.
The teens we saw arrested over ketamine have now been released, but investigations will continue.
We're not going to arrest our way out of it. So for the kids, we need to look at what does success look like for them, and that's all of those other societal measures.
But I get the impression the solution to this is not straightforward.
We have to do it, but we can do it compassionately, as sensitively as possible, and try and do that wraparound. And yeah, people don't often see that side. I think they see it as gung-ho. People view it as the police, and you know, we'd want to pat ourselves on the back, and it's not that at all. It's the kids, and it's the families. Policing is my job, and it's easy to get desensitised to it, but for them, that's their life, that's their son. And it would be absolutely wrong of me and other professionals to forget that right in the middle of everything going on is people's lives and futures and emotions as well.
The Home Office told us the government's currently seeking advice on whether to reclassify ketamine from a Class B to a Class A. Some families who've lost teens to the drug have told us that would be wrong, and have called for an evidence-based approach that includes more harm reduction and drug testing. If you've been affected by any of the issues raised in our report, there's help and support on the ITV News website.